Well, hello, everyone, and welcome here to Bedford. Nick Anastas, Steve Beals with you. It's FNL Gridiron presented by Beals Insurance. 3 weeks in the bag already. Across the state, and the NHIAA football schedule continues to heat up. We've got 3 of the top head coaches in the state about to join us over the next 90 or so minutes. We begin, 20 or so minutes with Ryan Francoeur. He's got Winnicott at 3-0. Bill Ball, their opponent this weekend, will join us at 7 o'clock, and wedged in between is Londonderry's Jimmy Lozon at about 6:40. So Coach Francoeur, Coach Lozon, Coach Ball, in that order, Steve, as we get ready for week number 4. Your favorite new word, stratification. Starting to see that. And a week from now, we'll have an even clearer picture of who's who in Division I.
Yeah, I don't think either one of these games are going to force anybody out of the top tier, especially if they're both competitive. And, boy, we got a couple of beauties this weekend. You know, start off with Londonderry at Pinkerton. I mean, Londonderry, no one's ever going to question the quality of Jimmy Lozon as a coach. And but the thing about it is Pinkerton is just roaring as well. This is going to be a great game tomorrow night. Thankfully, it's on turf, so with the rain coming, hopefully they'll be able to get that game in. Got to imagine that if it's raining hard, Coach O'Reilly's okay with that. Coach Lozon has a great ability to change up on things, change offense, make adjustments. He'll be able to do that as well. So I expect a good game there. But this East, we knew going in. We've talked about it all week. It's going to be tough. This Exeter, the Winnicott at Exeter game is going to be there. I think both games are going to be tight. There's nobody on the field on all 4 of those teams that's going to give up until the end. I expect 2 great games. I think Saturday is going to wind up being a pretty nice day, which is always a beautiful thing. Sure, the leaves will be turning in Exeter. It's going to be a great football. Right. Yeah. So.
Well, again, weather should be a factor, at least for us, for the first time this season. Tomorrow night, it's supposed to be rainy, stormy, windy, etc. in Derry. We will be on the scene, rain or shine, beginning at 6:45 for that 7 o'clock kick. Again, Londonderry 3-0. At Pinkerton, who is also 3-0. And, Steve, you mentioned it's Saturday. We are on the scene as well at Exeter this time, as the Blue Hawks, who are 2-0, will play host to 3-0 Winnicott. That's a 1:30 start. So we'll be on the air at about 1:15. Speaking of Exeter, they were out of action this week. In week number 3, they did not play the game against Central due to the COVID-19 situation. Memorial and Goffstown also did not play. In fact, the Grizzlies, when they suit up tomorrow night, it'll be the first time since week 1.
I know, yeah.
So they may have some rust to shake off. But let's jump into those Division I scores from last weekend. We were out on the Seacoast for Bedford and Portsmouth. Steve, the Bulldogs able to pull away in that second half and ultimately shut out the Clippers 29-0 to win their second straight game.
Yeah, but the game wasn't 29-0 until about halfway through the fourth quarter, when all of a sudden Bedford came down the field with 2 touchdowns. And Bedford did so many things right. I think that was one of the best managed games that I've seen Coach Matthews. Not that he hasn't had many others, but I thought he did a terrific job managing that game. Respected a very good Portsmouth football team, and he did many things we can talk about within that game that didn't give Portsmouth an opportunity to come back and make a big play. So I thought Michael was absolutely fantastic in that game. He continues to impress me as one of the top quarterbacks in this league. If you look on to to college level, I mean, to me, he's showing he's got the ability to make decisions on the fly and really be a coach's mission-oriented Marine out there on the football field, because he just did a great job. As far as Portsmouth is concerned, I'm just thrilled that Portsmouth is building a program that is destined to continue to improve. He's got the numbers. I thought that defense of Portsmouth fought like, Lions all the way through that, like Clippers, all the way through that game. And it wasn't a matter of giving up. It was just giving out, because the defense probably played on the field. I think we figured 3-4 to 1 time of possession in favor of Bedford in that game.
Lopsided,
I think all things considered, the defense, forget the 29-0. That was just giving out at the end. But I thought Portsmouth's still very strong. And as we said at the end, Portsmouth is going to win football games. I think the coach did a great job with that team.
Yeah, our broadcast of that game still up on our channel on YouTube at FNLNH Media. Archives are always up anytime. Check them out for free. Bedford, they win 2 in a row. They will take on Goffstown. As I mentioned, the Grizzlies at 0-1 have not played since September the 3rd. Portsmouth will look to bounce back on the road at Concord, while the Crimson will hope to shake off a 2-game skid. They won opening night, but fell the last 2 weeks, including in week 3 at Dover, 39-13, as the Green Wave are able to bounce back. Dover, by the way, will take on winless Spalding in week number 4. We'll stick with the Seacoast. We'll stick with Spalding. They were shut out against Winnicott, the mighty Winnicott Warriors, 47-zip, as Winnicott improves to now 3-0. And again, really face their, I don't know, first big test is the right way to put it, but they will be tested, as we know, on the road against Exeter in one of the state's longest-running rivalries on Saturday.
Yeah, longest running, but this is going to be one of those games where it's hard to really pick this game. I think Exeter being at home doesn't hurt at all. They've always got a very solid crowd there, good support at Exeter, but I don't think Winnicott really cares about much other than just they don't care where they are. They're just going to get it done.
A lot of similarities between the teams and the programs. Yeah.
But Coach Francois really has this. He said it. That this is the team. This is the year that we that's championship. Going to make a real championship run. I would expect this game to be highly physical. I think it's going to come down to who can stop the run on defense, and I think whoever holds the defense. Obviously, as long as turnovers are in parity, Nick, whoever holds the other team to the lowest rushing yards, I personally believe is going to win the game.
Again, that's Saturday at 1:30. We're on the air at 1:15. The only place you can see it live and in full HD is on our channel, FNLNH Media on YouTube. Other scores from week 2. How about Keene? They're 2-0. Or 2-1. Excuse me. 2-1.
Lost to BG.
Yep, they lost to BG. They bounced back with a road victory at Alvern to hand the Broncos their 3rd loss. Lopsided 26-7. They'll square off against Wyndham in a potentially a winnable game there. The Jaguars are 1-2 after they fall to Nashua North by a score of 14-10. North, by the way, flying right under the radar.
They are.
The defending champs at 3-0.
Yeah, I think this is coaching to a great degree. I think they have a great staff under Dante. I think he's a terrific coach. I think young men love to play for him, and I think no matter what he has as far as skill set, he's going to get the maximum out of them. And I think he's proven. I think twice so far he's won close games, and that's my hat's off to him. He just really impresses me how he puts his team together and how he gets the best out of his players every single game. And I think that you're right under the radar. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, shows you the strength of the program as well. They don't rebuild, they reload. And again, are 3-0. On the other side of town, however, South now 0-3 after a shootout loss in Merrimack to the Tomahawks. 28-26 was the final. Merrimack, they earned their first victory of the season. Seems like it's always some kind of a shootout, a 1-point game, a 2-point game, whenever those two teams get together.
I watched that game last year that South came back, and then Kip Jackson, they came out, and that was just a great game to watch. I understand the other game last week was a good one as well, but yeah, good for Kip Jackson. Got Merrimack moving. I got to be honest with you, when we saw South the first of the week, the first game against South and Salem, I'm surprised that they're 0-3. I kind of figured they would fall up short against a good Salem football team, but that's really surprised me. I don't know what the injury situation is over there, but
they got banged up opening night.
They got banged up opening night against Salem's, but yeah. I'm really surprised. I thought, especially even talking to Coach Knight, you could feel that he adds a fair degree of confidence in the football team, as he should. But I'm just surprised they're 0-3.
They will play each other Friday night in what's called the Battle of the Bridge down in the Gate City North.
And all bets are off with that.
And South, that's right. All right, how about Pinkerton and Salem? As that was a close game in the first half. Pinkerton dominates the second half and hands Salem their second loss. So the Blue Devils at a surprising now 1-2. Pinkerton, as we mentioned at the top of the show, 3-0. Astros will host the Lancers tomorrow night. We're there. Salem was hoping to get a rebound opportunity at Alvern, but that game has been canceled, unfortunately, I believe, due to the COVID-19 situation. One other score for you, Steve, close to your heart, I'm sure, BG. They suffer their first loss against Jimmy Lozon's Londonderry Lancers, 29-13 the final. That game was played in Londonderry. BG a chance to bounce back this week against Merrimack.
Yeah, I watched the game on YouTube, and I think that the grass field really didn't allow BG to be its very, very best. I could see there was some turf coming up and everything else. Coach Lozon played on the same field, and they didn't seem to have that problem. So Coach Lozon's got these guys cranking. They beat, I think, a very good BG team, and they just kind of kept on slipping and pulling away, slipping away in the game. It was the defense of that Coach Lozon's program had out there in the field last week was very, very impressive. They were able to stop the Bellavance and Santa Suazo connection. Instead of long yardage, they were getting on long run to be 6 to 7 yards rather than 15, 19 yards, 16-yard bangs. And I just think that the adjustments that Coach Lozon and both of these coaches, Coach Trisciani has shown, I mean, they just came off one of the most incredible wins I've ever seen as far as regular season football last week.
One of the bigger wins in recent program history.
Right, but there's no question. You got to look at Londonderry right now, and you got to look at Pinkerton coming in this game that we're doing tomorrow night. And how do you pick that game, Nick? I don't know, but Coach Lozon, you know how high I am on him as a coach. He just has all the parts, and his guys just play their hearts for him. He's got a great assistant coaching staff. I know I had a couple of the players that I knew that in youth football. One of them played for me, and they're terrific football guys, and it's just a great culture there, and those kids buy into it.
And that's become one of the better rivalries over the last few years. For years and years and years and years, Pinkerton dominated that rivalry between the two neighboring towns, but as of the last couple of seasons, Londonderry's gotten their revenge, and it's more evened out, I suppose, over the last handful of years.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, Coach O'Reilly's got these guys. Got Pinkerton really cranking. I mean, the Astros are. You don't beat Salem like that. I don't care what anybody says. Salem's a good football team. They're just. It's been unfortunate for them with the record they got. They've run into the BG game. Was amazing, and I thought Steve Abraham called a good game. It was just BG was just lights out that night. That was their night. But so for Pinkerton to beat Salem, I think that game. What was the final score of that game?
49-21.
I mean that had to slip. That kind of had to get separation at the end. That tells me that Pinkerton's extremely strong, and I expect to watch one of the best young up-and-coming coaches, I think, for over a very large area. Jimmy Lozon's as good as it gets, and you've got a legend out there with Coach O'Reilly. There's a deep respect that you see between both those coaches after the game. They sit and they stand and they talk after the game and prior contests that we've done. There's a lot of respect there. I have a lot of respect for both of those programs. One thing about Coach Lozon and Coach O'Reilly that I'm going to say is almost synonymous. They know their football team. It's one thing to know football, but it's another intangible gift
to know your team.
Right. And both of those coaches know their teams year in, year out. And because of that great relationship they have, Nick, they know what adjustments they can make that are going to work. They assess their players, how they're playing today, and then they know by the end of the first quarter who came to play, and they get it right. The adjustments they make are fantastic. These are just two outstanding coaches going to go at it. It's going to be a rivalry tomorrow night.
Yeah, two outstanding coaches, two outstanding teams, two outstanding programs, and potentially a big X factor as well, which is, of course, the weather. Steve, you seem to think that the Pinkerton-style attack may be more suited for that wet weather.
Well, it is, unless you're facing Jimmy Lozon. And the problem with that is he makes adjustments, and he comes in with game plans. I've watched Jimmy now for years, and he comes in with a game. Forget adjustments that he's great at as well. Forget the timing of timeouts that he calls. When he knows his defense is tired, he knows when their helmets. He calls timeouts with precision, and he knows how to lift his team up at the right time. He uses timeouts with precision. Very similar to how Coach Cameron uses timeouts in lacrosse. It's just nobody. I've never seen anybody better that uses timeouts better than Coach. And anybody can watch him and learn. You could watch when to call timeouts from Jimmy. But I think that one of the things that Jimmy does, so many coaches say, okay, we're going to come in with this game plan. Well, it's not right. We make adjustments. They win the game. Nothing but respect for that, right? Jimmy comes in so often with the right game plan because he's a film animal. And he understands where his player's at. He understands how to assess other players on the opposition, and he makes adjustments ahead of time. I've never he just comes in with the right game plan right from the beginning. So many contests that you and I have seen, it's just really impressive.
There's 5 undefeated teams in Division One. Londonderry and Pinkerton are 2 of them. They will face off tomorrow night, Friday night, at 7 o'clock. We're on the air at about 6:45. We will speak with Coach Lozon of the Lancers coming up at about 6:45 Eastern. 2 of the other undefeated teams in Division One are also facing off Saturday. That is when Exeter will play host to Winnicott. The Warriors, #1 in the minds of many in terms of the power poll.
They are impressive.
We'll see if they can stay that way. We'll ask head coach Ryan Francoeur how he plans to get that done Saturday.
Some similarities on that game, too. You got a younger coach, Coach Francoeur, and then you've got another legend down there around the road in Exeter in Billy Ball. This is jam-packed weekend. This is like finals week, you know?
The rubber meeting the road mid-season with Week 4 looming. Big Week 4 on the way. We get that started next with Coach Francoeur as he joins us from the Seacoast. You're watching FNL Gridiron. It's presented by Beals Insurance. Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com. Is your company interested in showcasing your brand to thousands of high school sports fans across New Hampshire? If not, why not? And if so, let's go. Friday Night Lights New Hampshire is seeking sponsorship partners. It's the perfect way for your company to get out in front of the moms and dads who make up our community. Help us help you, and we can grow together. If you're interested in partnering with Friday Night Lights New Hampshire, then email us at fnlnhmedia@gmail.com. That's fnlnhmedia@gmail.com. Join our team today. Part 2 here on FNL Gridiron as we get ready for week number 4 in the state of New Hampshire. Nick Anastas, Steve Beals with you. We're live here from the Beals Insurance Studios every Thursday at 6. You can watch the archives anytime after that for free on our YouTube channel, FNLNH Media. Again, we're on YouTube at FNLNH Media. Londonderry's Jimmy Lozon coming up at about 6:45. Coach Ball of Exeter at 7. But joining us right now from the Seacoast is the Winnicott head coach. That's Ryan Francoeur. Coach, good evening. How are you?
Great. It's going to be nice to talk to some guys that know about football. I was just listening to you guys a little bit. And
we're going to get hate?
Yeah. No. First of all, obviously Coach Ball and Coach O'Reilly, we're talking like Mount Rushmore here of New Hampshire coaches. But I don't think Jimmy would like to be called young with me. I'm much older than him, I think. But I'll just say I remember being a young coach, and I saw this really young coach and Jimmy come on, and I couldn't agree with you guys more. I mean, Jimmy is as impressive as they are, and I've learned a lot from him, and I'm glad we're like acquaintances and kind of friends now. So, but you guys are spot on with that, like absolutely.
Coach, speaking of impressive, your team 3-0, blowout wins in all 3 weeks. You made a statement victory in week 1 over Bedford, and have blown doors really the last couple of weeks. What's the biggest surprise from your group in that 3-0 start that you've seen them get off to?
That's actually kind of tough to say because we've liked this group for a few years now. I thought they are easy to coach. High effort, physical team, like each other, like football, love football. And I think what I've been happiest about, I'll say, maybe not surprised, is that we've done a really nice job with penalties, and except for the first half last week, turnovers. So, that's been a big thing for us so far. We feel like when we take care of that, we're going to be in good shape.
We had Jay Pinzanault of Seacoast Online join us last week. He praised your group, particularly your group up front, the offensive line. Maybe not overly big in comparison to some of the groups we've seen come through Winnicott in years past, but technically sound, and they're driving at the point of attack, it seems like, more often than not. Do you agree with that? Is that really the strength of this group, at least offensively up front?
Well, first I'd say our O-line usually gets the job done because, you're talking about legends in coaching, and we've had our defensive coordinator and our O-line coach, Steve Magri Jr., who's been in this program for 30 years, multiple head coaches, learned more football from him than anyone that's out there. So I feel like each year I'm blessed with the best O-line coach that's out there, so he can get every group ready. That group's done a great job. They're definitely a strength of our team. I'd say, anyone watching us, though, is going to say that we legitimately, and this doesn't usually happen, we legitimately go 6 running backs deep right now. And that's just, any coach would die to have that.
Has that been one of the goals for your staff, kind of develop a stable of running backs, so to speak, so you have options in game as the games go on?
Yeah, I think that's always a goal, to try to create depth in any position. We've had a lot of good backs that have come through this program. Maybe one that was faster, maybe one that had better vision, but I don't know. And it's kind of just fallen this way this year, where we've had 6 guys that are legitimately, solid Division I running backs. So we've had that. We're trying to preserve that throughout the season, obviously, with the goal being to every time we're handing the ball off, it gets fresh. So,
And it seems like as well the defense has been equally impressive. You're coming off, of course, a shutout victory of 47-0. What's been the story there? Is it all 11 guys playing as one, buying in, or is there a particular group or subsection that's caught your eye?
Overall, it's everyone buying in, but, we've had, with Matt Alkire and Jack McCann, they've been starting since sophomores for us at that same spot, inside linebacker. So the two of them have been developed, 3 full seasons of playing football. They've been in the weight room, all 3 of those years, and they're students of the game. They watch film. And then, we've had Zach Frederick since he's been a sophomore playing defensive end for us. Now we've got his little brother Jake right next to him. But so I would say that, that 7 or so in the interior really make it difficult for, I think, teams to run on us. And then we're blessed with some good skill guys that can cover the field when people put it up in the air.
Coach, thanks for coming on. We cannot wait for that game on Saturday to watch. I'll tell you, it's just, if you love New Hampshire football and you don't love that game, then there's something wrong. It's just going to be really exciting. I want to just ask you a quick question about Kyle Tilley. One of the things, if you look at him the end of last year, in the Goffstown game and before that, he really impressed me last year. No argument. You knew this was a kid who was going to come on, but the growth in him, not only physically and strength-wise, but the growth mentally, the decisions that he makes of protecting the football. Talk to us about his development in the off season leading up today, because wow, I watched you guys against Bedford, and against Michael, who's a very, very good quarterback. And I got to tell you, Kyle really impressed me. What's happened last year in Goffstown till now?
Yeah, I think, I don't, maybe when you ask me the surprise, this was the answer. I don't say it was a surprise because Kyle's always worked hard for us. But how calm he looks out there. Like, he really, I've told him after a couple of weeks, I go, I feel like you're in control out there. I feel like that comes off of him. And that's so important to us. I try to tell our kids, even in practice, remember, hey, we're on offense. We have the ball. We dictate to them. There should be no nerves going on over here. We're in charge of the ball right now. They don't know what's coming. We do. And he's really kind of just taken that demeanor and calmed himself down. He checks out a lot of stuff that we need him to check out of with what we do. And he's made some really good decisions. And even when, the other thing he's done really well this year is when the play's not perfect, he'll make something out of it. But he's not trying to make too much out of it either. He understands it might be 2 yards. It might be a 1 yard loss, but we have the ball the next play. And so just decision making, and he's brought everyone's ready to go, but they're down and focused and ready to execute when he's behind center right now.
He's impressive, and you're going to need that Saturday to have a guy with a head and a mindset like he's got. I just think you guys have done, obviously he's a terrific young man, and you guys have done a terrific job with him. So bravo there. I'm actually going to go now to that offensive line, and Kyle Tilley, chime in on this, what I'm going to ask you this, if you think he's a factor as well. But when you look at Jack McCann, Jake Fredericks, and LeBron Miller, and I think there are two. There's a sophomore and a junior. Make up the other five.
Two more seniors, Bodie Reed.
Oh, they're both seniors. Okay.
Yep. And
I'm going to take you back to that Bedford game, which I think is one of the best defensive lines that I've seen, certainly up there. And to watch you guys separate from Bedford from the offensive side of the ball, the cadence and the firing out and the technique that these offensive line are when you look at them, you say, how are they moving these guys? They're getting off the ball with tremendous speed. Obviously, you do have one of the best line coaches in New Hampshire football. No argument there. What are the other things, attributes that go into this? Because it just seems I have not seen a team fire off the ball better than you guys do.
I mean,
what goes into that?
We rep it, and we rep it, and then we rep it some more. Our most important, like most coaches, our most important part of our practice is our individuals, So, sometimes we miss team time. We don't get, we don't run our team plays at some point. Sometimes the linemen are completely separate. Sometimes the backs and the quarterbacks together, the receivers, whatever it might be. And if we're not happy with fundamentals and technique, we stay in those sessions. So, I think that's just been a buy-in that as our staff is that's what we do. We're always talking about hand placement, and
Yes.
I think Jake Fredericks in the Bedford game at tackle had a great game, and Coach Magri was all over him about his hand placement at the end of it. And so we're really preached this year. We have strong kids, we have fast kids, we have physical kids there. That takes care of itself, and they play with high effort. So we're in practice. We're really trying to talk about those little things and technique as much as possible.
Well, one of the things about Bedford is they get separation. They control with their hands, and they get a wide separation. Their elbows are about 75, 80 degrees in perfect space. Your offensive linemen were the only offensive linemen that I've been able to see that could actually control, and they had them in tight, and they could not do the great things that they normally do when you played them. So bravo to whatever's going on, but the tactical work that goes into these guys that you have has just been fantastic. Let's talk about Saturday with against the legend Coach Ball. Where do you see their number one strength? What is something that what's something inside that you've got to accomplish besides protecting the football? We all know that. Can't turn that over to those guys. What do you see as the inside part of the game that you've got to accomplish in order to win that game?
I mean, I think you talked a lot about it with the O-line and the D-line, how we each play each other. And the other thing is, I've been on the staff for almost 20 years now, so we know I've seen a lot of extra teams, and Coach Ball's seen a lot of our teams, obviously. And there's not going to be a lot of surprises. There's just not going to be. There won't be a lot of surprises in terms of what anybody's doing. And I talked to the kids about that today. It's going to be how many times can you win your individual matchup. And you're going to see a lot of those, especially by the alignments. A lot of us have offensive and defensively. There's going to be a lot of the same exact kid blocking the same exact kid all game long. And it's how many times can we win that individual matchup, I think, is going to be important. And then obviously the other things you talked about, turnovers, et cetera.
Real quick, one more quick one. Can I do it?
Sure.
That's right. We got 20, don't we? Let's talk about the play action pass that Coach Ball can pull out of a hat, and he tends to lull you in like the lullabies on Winnie the Pooh. And next thing you know, he's blasting you with a backside tight end going out, and they roll out so good. And next thing you know, what happened? Where did he come from? There's no way he could be there. I assume that you guys recognize that, respect that, and have a game plan. How do you stop that? How do you stop your guys from getting lulled in?
I think you must be in our planning room, because
don't tell anybody.
Every year people ask about what's hard about planning for extra, things like that, and the first thing every one of our coaches say is their passing game, and everyone's like, what are you talking about? But it is. I mean, because of everything you said, we talked to our safeties about it. Like we feel confident in our defense, so because of that, we feel like we have guys whose jobs are to stop the run, and the guys that are not their job to stop the run, we can't emphasize enough to them that's not their job. And obviously they got to be there, make tackles when those guys don't. But if they're making tackles all day, it's going to be a long day anyway. So
you have some good smart DBs too, and I think that's going to be the key. Is they've got to make the right decisions and not break down mentally, because they're not going to physically, but they can't break down mentally. And I'm going to make a prediction this game. I told Nick earlier, whoever has less rushing yards is going to lose the game, because I think the intelligence on both of these teams to watch that the passing game is going to be there. Got great athletes, but I just think whoever can control the running game against their opponent is going to be victorious. I don't expect any wide margins in this game. So with that, I wish you the best of luck. Ryan, it's fun watching your teams play. The inside football and the mechanics that these guys demonstrate are just really impressive. So congratulations so far to you and your staff, and thank you for being, for coaching these guys to the point where we get to go to that game and enjoy some really good, high-quality high school football. So best of luck to you against the Legend.
Thanks a lot, guys.
You bet.
Thank you, Coach. We'll see you on Saturday. And again, thanks for carving out some time for us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Take care.
Again, Coach Ryan Francoeur, been in the program as an assistant, 2 decades now, of course, head coach, and the Warriors on that short list of contenders. Number 1 in the Union Leader Power Poll, of course, the perfect 3-0 record. But none of that matters. Saturday at 1:30 when Exeter and Winnicott square off. We will be there, of course, live in full 1080 HD, only on FNLNH Media. Steve, what jumped out at you there?
Just special coach, has the respect of his players. You always appreciate a coach when he starts talking about his assistant coaches and how good they are. And Ryan's confident enough in himself where he recognizes where the rubber meets the road as far as situational football. He does a great job in, but in the practice during the week, that they break down into separate groups. I already knew that, how they do, and they really focus on technique, stamina, all of those tactical things that change the inside part of the game. And he's just terrific. And he lets his coaches coach. And who wants to play Winnicott every week? Do you?
No.
Or would you want to play Winnicott? No. I just assumed they weren't in my division, and that's what he brings to that team. Even if they're not, like right now, they clearly have the goods. They got the goods to go all the way. No argument. But even when they don't have the goods to go all the way, who wants to go in them 5th, 6th, 7th week and play them when you want them out of the way?
Right. They're always a tough out in the playoffs. You're always going to get knocked around physically. Yeah. That's for sure. They play a blue-collar brand of football, always have. And again, it seems like this group, as good of any group that he's had, maybe with the exception, of course, of the team that ran the table in 2017, still early in the season, but there are some comparisons, maybe at least to this point, between that unbeaten group from 4 years ago and this group that's gotten out to a 3-0 start.
Under Coach Stank, for example, when he was coaching Bedford, Coach Stank was a fantastic coach. I have all the respect in the world watching the way he coaches team, and I can tell you their worst rival was Winnicott. Winnicott, especially in Winnicott, they just had
Coach Stank of Bedford.
Coach Stank of Bedford, yeah. and then Coach Matthews goes over there, and we saw how good Bedford was last week, and they lost 2.5 touchdowns or something like that, and they separated.
I think it was 30-13.
30-13, something like that, and Winnicott is for real. This is going to be a great game. I'm sure Coach Ball's all excited himself. He loves this stuff. But Ryan's an impressive young coach like Coach Lozon, Coach Trisciani. Certainly brings to the table a great staff and he's going to bring a team that's going to have studied you well, and they're going to come right. They're going to come smack you right in the mouth, but with good tactics as well.
Yeah.
Just you can see when you hear him talk, he's why kids like to play for him.
Yeah.
No doubt.
We will talk to Coach Ball of Exeter, get the other side of the story, so to speak, at about 7 o'clock. We've got, of course, Coach Lozon coming up next. Londonderry getting set to take on Pinkerton. That rivalry is hot as any across the state. Both teams are 3-0. We did talk to Coach at halftime of the BG Salem game back in week number 2. Seemed like he was pretty pleased that his team seemed to be on schedule. Of course, now 3-0 following a 29-13 victory over BG in Week 3.
Jimmy just was low-key in that interview. I thought it was a very good interview. He knows where his team's at right now. There's no doubt that these kids think about the game that they have at the end of the week, every single week. He keeps them very focused, and so do his assistant coaches. As we talked earlier, they're big film people, anxious to talk to Jimmy about what his thoughts are as far as what he thinks of Pinkerton and what he has to do to stay in that game and hopefully come out for his team victorious.
Yeah, we'll have those questions for Coach and a few more as well. Next, Coach Lozon live from Londonderry. You're watching FNL Gridiron. It's presented by Beals Insurance. Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com. Is your company interested in showcasing your brand to thousands of high school sports fans across New Hampshire? If not, why not? And if so, let's go. Friday Night Lights New Hampshire is seeking sponsorship partners. It's the perfect way for your company to get out in front of the moms and dads who make up our community. Help us help you, and we can grow together. If you're interested in partnering with Friday Night Lights New Hampshire, then email us at fnlnhmedia@gmail.com. That's fnlnhmedia@gmail.com. Join our team today. It's FNL Gridiron here on Friday Night Lights New Hampshire. We're presented by Beals Insurance. Nick Anastas, Steve Beals. We appreciate Ryan Francor of Winnicunnet for jumping on with us. In about 15 or 20 minutes or so, we'll talk with Coach Ball of Exeter as they get ready for Winnicunnet. They'll match up Saturday. We'll be there for that 1:30 start. And, of course, Friday, tomorrow night, we are in Derry. Pinkerton hosting Londonderry. Both teams are 3-0. And what a better time than to bring in Lancer head coach Jimmy Lozon here to the program. Coach, there he is.
How are you doing?
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Hi, Coach.
Good evening.
Your team, 3-0. As usual, your guys seem to be getting better every week, and obviously have a big challenge coming up this week against Pinkerton. Is that a special date, a special game, the Pinkerton game? Is it circled on the calendar, so to speak, for you and your guys every year, or is it just another game?
I would say for, probably the first 6 years I was here, it was the game that we circled, and it was the game that the guys talked about nonstop, all off season, and I was fine with that because it motivated them. But once we were able to kind of get that monkey off our back in 2019, it's really just become another game last year, and then this year it's been kind of oddly quiet. They just have been, and it's kind of the type of team we have this year. They're just the next opponent up, and they're not too worried about who it is. They don't get too high, too low. They're not overly confident, but at the same time they respect everyone, and I don't think they're overthinking it. So it's a game, I'm sure we're all looking forward to being a part of because of, the crowd and what it means. But as far as who we're playing, I don't think it's anything more than just their week 4 opponent.
Seems like you got kind of a cool.
I know that sounds like a cliche, but it's honestly, I think how this group is.
Well, it seems like you've got a mature group on your hands, right? It seems like they're taking things in stride, and that typically is a sign of maturity. You agree?
Yeah, ironically, I'd say the bulk of our team is pretty young, but we have great leadership in our senior class, and I think that's kind of trickled its way down, and that's how they go about things, and the rest of the younger guys have followed.
We talked a couple of weeks back. You seemed like you were pretty pleased with the way your team approached this season, how they got back after it in the off season in the locker room with the 7-on-7 and such. The work ethic of this group, it seems like, is right there with some of the other groups that you've coached with in the past. What makes this group a little bit different, maybe? Forget the similarities for a second, but what makes this group unique? At least I know it's very early, 3 games through the season, but what's kind of jumped at you that maybe surprised you? We asked Coach Francor that same question to begin the Winnicunnet interview, but what have you seen so far, anyways, that maybe you didn't quite expect?
Probably how quickly some of our young guys have shown that they're ready to go. And they, we knew there were a lot of talented kids in those younger classes, but, last week, for example, Jake Shano, who's a sophomore running back, had to fill in for our senior running back who was injured in week 2, and, he scored 2 touchdowns last week. And usually don't see, a sophomore step up and he's ready, for the lights that quickly. And so that's definitely been surprising. And then, our senior, it's just something that we've been striving to have back in our program. Is just the senior leadership has been tremendous. And I mean, I'm not just talking on the field. We've had great leadership on the field, but just off the field and how they carry themselves and how they go about things in the off season and the work ethic, as you mentioned, over the summer. Was just tremendous from our senior class, and it's really motivated our younger guys, and I think that's helped them get ready mentally for our plays and our scheme and both sides of the ball and everything that we expect from our guys. So those would be the two things that kind of stick out.
Coach, you think the COVID-19 situation helped to mold those leaders into leaders with the additional responsibilities, the deadlines, the protocols, et cetera? Was that maybe kind of grooming them towards a leadership role as seniors?
Yeah, I think, one thing that we all have found since COVID-19 hit is the appreciation for the opportunity to be out there. And I don't think any of them have taken it for granted. And I think our best attendance ever has been this summer, because our guys were like, hey, this is our opportunity to get back out there. Let's get back out there and play for as long as we possibly can. And they missed it last year, and so they have been extremely motivated. And like I said, our senior class, you always hope you have a good leadership group in your senior class, because it sets the tone for the rest of the program, and they've done that. And they're out there. Guys are playing roles that we've asked them, to take, one side of the ball type of role, like our two cornerbacks, Grady Durone and Connor Howe have stepped up big time. They were, primarily offensive players when they first came into the program, and now we've asked them to take these roles on defense, and they haven't said a peep. They're like, yep, we'll do it. It's our opportunity to get on the field. We're playing football. We're happy about it. They've put in all this work, and, come to find out they've played – maybe we should have put them on the defense side more, earlier in their career. They've played great.
Coach, congratulations on the 3-0 start. I think that I think you really meant it. Although I tease you offline, you probably heard it about his rebuilding year. I've been teasing you about it, but I really think you believe that. I think when you had said that early on, and when you had said that some guys are really stepping up, that is obvious. I watched the BG game that you had last week from start to finish. And two things I noticed. Your defensive secondary did a fantastic job shutting down that Santa Suazo Bellavance. Instead of getting 19, 16, 20 yards like they were able to rip off from pretty much every game they've played so far, you guys, their big gains were 6 and 7 yards when they did get a gain. And a lot of times you were able to stop Bellavance at the line. He was struggling. He was trying to cut back because the edge was contained, and then and it was just a fantastic job with your safeties, your linebackers, your ends. They just did a terrific job. Talk to us about this defense, because, to me, I thought they were, it's Jimmy Lozon's team. They're going to be solid, but I thought these guys really showed that this is a serious defense. Talk to it about that just for a second. Is it more than you expected?
Yeah, two things about defense. That first thing is the credit goes to the defensive staff and. Yeah. How hard they work to game plan, and we have 3 great coaches at each position, and they do a tremendous job every Sunday. In our defensive side of the meetings and our offensive side of the meetings, like then we come together and we collaborate and we go through those ideas, and they've done an unbelievable job. So credit to those guys and preparing them, and not just in season but all off season about, hey, this is what we want to do. We want to dabble in this. We want to do some different things. We want to put this guy in this spot, And so this has been, 9 months worth of work that has kind of led to the early success. The second part is defensive players. You don't find defensive players. They find you. Like you just either have defensive players on your team or you don't. It's not something you can create. And we've just been fortunate the last couple of years to have guys that want to fly around and want to be a part of tackles and want to, get down and dirty on the defensive line. And we've just over the last couple of years have had, some great linebacking cores. Our coach does a great job with that group. And then, and same with the defensive backs. It just seems like every year we're like, all right, we're losing some great DBs. And then 2 new or 3 new seniors step in. And then,
wow.
Riley's a hybrid of it all. He's kind of the heart and soul of the defense. he plays a little bit of everything for us, from a linebacker standpoint to, blitzing to playing defensive back.
He was everywhere.
He does everything. Yeah, he is,
Yeah.
and he's been there for 3 years. He came in. We said as a sophomore, we said, hey, I know you're a little undersized, but we're gonna have you play linebacker. He stepped up, and I think in a couple games that you guys covered that year, Pinkerton and Salem playoff games, he was out there as a sophomore making plays. Last year he was awesome, and then this year he's just kind of taking his game to a new level.
All right, another guy I saw.
The edge
sorry,
guys,
go ahead. Yep.
The edge guys have been unbelievable too. Trevor Wyman and Colby Ramshaw have been, a huge
Terrific.
strength to our team. So keeping them contained from the outside, from getting to the outside, has been huge.
Did a great job squeezing the interior holes too. They were tight, though there was nothing really, nowhere to go. But I'm going to say his name wrong. I'm going to need your help, but I don't mean anything other than I really respected the body of work that this gentleman plays. Is it Kylie? Is that your nose guard, your defensive tackle, big fella, 70-something?
Ty 75. Ty Miles.
Ty Miles, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
that kid was a one-man gang in that game, and he was getting separation. He was forcing double teams on him, and he still threw him aside, and he just caused havoc in the middle. And I really think when your ends were doing a great job pinching down, they were limiting the amount of inside the tackles that BG likes to run. And he was everywhere. He was in the backfield. He was causing problems there. And then they started double team. They started putting two men on him and trying to chip it. They couldn't do it. Talk to him about, did he just come out of the woodwork or what?
Well,
because he played fantastic.
Yeah, when I refer to the younger guys being able to step up, he's one of them. He's only a sophomore. Wow. And so, he's a guy that we were hoping, would be able to take on a role, but you don't want to throw too much at sophomores, and he's a guy that he's done awesome, but he'll be the first one to tell you he's still got a lot to work on, and we coached him hard. And I actually, I think he played even better the game before that. And if he can just continue to keep getting better, yeah, he's going to be a really, really good player. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with over the next couple of years. And so he's taken that role on. And he's done great. The two guys beside him on the defensive line have done a great job. And if you're gonna have a good defense, you're gonna have a good defensive line. That sets the tone for the linebackers and right behind them. And then the front seven, front eight usually set the tone for the defensive backs.
What he reminds me of is Ackerson. Ackerson, he's a sophomore, so he's younger, but he reminds me, a lot of his play has the potential to be an Ackerson on North last year, because he's got some of those same capabilities. Before we go, I just want to ask you, going up against a legend in Coach O'Reilly. I know you see you guys talking after the game. I know you have a lot of respect for each other. You guys are premier coaches, and we're very fortunate to have you guys in the state of New Hampshire. What do you this? We had Coach O'Reilly on, and he was very non-committal. Remember, he wasn't going to say, well, what about it? And he says, well, let's just wait and see what we do. I said, I think he knows he's got it, because I asked him, who's going to come out of the box here and show up? No, let's not worry about that right now. And sure enough, their role. I mean, to beat Salem 48-21 or something like that, that's incredible. What do you do what do you see the strengths in this team, and how do you stop it?
Yeah. Well, firstly, with Coach O'Reilly, obviously I have tremendous respect for him, and he's made me a much better coach. Going against him, I want to say this is like our 11th or 12th time, which for him is no big deal, but for me to coach against a guy like that this many times is, like I said, has made me a much better coach, and he's made our staff better. So nothing but respect for him. And yeah, I mean, you just kind of hope that maybe they don't have great talent because they have such a great staff that, when they have it, it's like, oh, geez, good luck to the rest of us. But he definitely has a talented team. He's got some great backs. He's got some big boys up front, a lot of big boys up front. And, I'd say the strength of their team on defense, from what we can tell, is their linebacking core is really good. And so, we know as coaches we're up against a great staff, and then our players, they're up for the challenge to go up against good teams. They enjoy that. I think they thrive on that. And so, last week they thrived on going up against a good team in Bishop Girton, and I think they'll be ready this week. But I mean, it's going to be a battle, man. I've went into this game so many times, and it's just a great atmosphere, and it's just a great thing to be a part of, honestly. And it's fun, and it's enjoyable to have to just prepare to go against a Brian O'Reilly team. It just, you gotta dot your I's and cross your T's, and I think we enjoy that challenge.
Well, before I hand it back to Nick, appreciate you coming on, and I always love watching the two of you with Coach O'Reilly and your game plans and how you make adjustments through it and so on and so forth. And when you start breaking it down, who did what when, who called the timeout, who got to his, who put in the right plays, the chess match. We love it, and we thank you for all the effort that you put in to make it so much fun for Nick and I to call these games, because both of these teams, so many good coaches we talk about all the time in the state of New Hampshire. We're very, very lucky here because these kids are being trained. And so best of luck to you on Friday night. We'll be there. We'll be in the press box, so we won't be needing to wear rain gear. I think you guys will be, but I don't think it's going to dampen the spirit in the sidelines and in the crowd. So best of luck, Jimmy.
Coach, I got one final question for you. Just trying to figure out where you are. It looks like you're sitting in a recliner. Are you outside? Are you in the man cave? Are you on the Vegas Strip? I mean, where are you right now?
Undisclosed location?
No, I'm in I'd say my man cave, but it's more of like a film room. So so I got my whiteboard right here, my projector right here, and I'm gonna try to pop on some film and see if I can catch any last-minute things that might help us out tomorrow night. And,
why do I find that easy to believe,
Coach? I believe it 100% for sure. Coach, thank you. Good luck tomorrow. It's going to be a heck of a show, we're sure, and we appreciate you coming on. Thanks again.
All right. I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Thank you. Again, Coach Lozon, friend of the show at this point. The man cave and the film room, all one and the same when it comes to Jimmy Lozon, right?
Yeah, if he's got a great wife, great family, and the amount of time that Jimmy puts in is really a family commitment. It's not just Jimmy. I'm sure he'd be the first one to say that, but he gets it done. He makes good use of it. This guy, I already know he's a film animal, and I think that his coaching staff that he's very comfortable with. But the biggest thing is those kids come out and they don't have to worry about the decisions that are made during the game from the sidelines. These kids come out ready because they know the adjustments are going to be made, and they're waiting. You watch those kids come off the field, his players come off the field, when things get a little bit tough, they're all eyes on Coach Lozon and staff, because they know they're going to get good advice and they're going to make good adjustments, and they go out and execute it. When you have that sort of chemistry going on between players and coaches, not only does it make great football, but it really builds good character in his players, and they're very disciplined staff, very disciplined group of kids due to the results of a great staff. So, Nick, I don't know about you. I just think this game has got a lot of potential to be a 3 minutes left game, and within this, I'd be surprised if someone really pulls away. It's possible always, but I'd be surprised.
Could be an instant classic for sure. Again, we're on the scene in Derry tomorrow night, 6:45. Our pregame coverage gets underway. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock. And again, the only place to see it live in full 1080 HD is with us on Friday Night Lights New Hampshire on YouTube at FNLNH Media. We may see another instant classic on Saturday when Winnicott
I would expect
battles Exeter. That's a 1:30 kickoff. Our pregame coverage begins at 1:15. Both teams are undefeated. Exeter 2-0. They had an off week due to a cancellation in week number 3, so maybe an extra week to get ready for this game. We'll ask longtime head coach / athletic director at Exeter, Bill Ball, how he utilized that extra week of prep. He's on the other side. You're watching FNL Gridiron. It's presented by Beals Insurance. Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com. Is your company interested in showcasing your brand to thousands of high school sports fans across New Hampshire? If not, why not? And if so, let's go. Friday Night Lights New Hampshire is seeking sponsorship partners. It's the perfect way for your company to get out in front of the moms and dads who make up our community. Help us help you, and we can grow together. If you're interested in partnering with Friday Night Lights New Hampshire, then email us at fnlnhmedia@gmail.com. That's fnlnhmedia@gmail.com. Join our team today. Final segment here on FNL Gridiron. We're live every Thursday at 6 Eastern, right here on Friday Night Lights New Hampshire. It's presented by Beals Insurance. I'm Nick Anastas. He's Steve Beals. We appreciate Ryan Francor of Winnicott for jumping on with us. Same thing with Londonderry's Jimmy Lozon. We will be live, of course, tomorrow night in Derry as Londonderry takes on Pinkerton. That's a big rivalry. Both teams are 3-0. And two of the better teams in Division I. And then two unbeatens going at it on Saturday as well. Saturday afternoon in Exeter. Winnicott 3-0. Exeter 2-0, coming off a bye week. Hoping to improve to 3-0. Joining us now is the longtime Exeter head coach. He's also the school's athletic director. Of course, that's Bill Ball joining us live on the phone from Exeter. Coach Ball, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
We're good. 2-0 start. Seems like business as usual for your squad. You're a perennial contender, of course. And then an unexpected off week last week as your game against Central was canceled. How did you use that extra off week to get ready for Saturday's game against Winnicott?
Yeah, we used it, I think, in a real prudent manner. We spent a lot of time fundamentally. We did a little bit of self-scout on ourselves a little bit. And then we, obviously began to put the plan together for Winnicott, which real fine team down there in Hampton. So we had a few extra days to get ready for that. And they force you to play assignment defense, and that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, similar to what Coach Francor told us, a lot of one-on-one matchups may decide this one in the end. A lot has been made of the similarities between your two teams, your two programs, but having scouted Winnicott, Coach, what are the differences? What should we watch for as broadcasters tomorrow night that may stand out and ultimately make the difference in the end?
Well, they're a split-back veer team, Houston Veer. So they are, inside veer, outside veer, veer option, counter option. They're an option team. They like to get their real good players, as Ryan said, in space. Tilley's a threat at the quarterback as a real good runner inside and outside, and he's also a pass threat. They get a cadre of halfbacks that hit the hole hard, and their wideouts, Levi Gould and the tight end, obviously Fredericks, are guys you get to contend with. So they have a real good mix, experienced team coming back, and they present a myriad of problems for us.
Offensively, Coach, it seems like business as usual for your group, that ground and pound style, straight downhill runner. And, of course, you've had over the years kind of an exceptional relationship with your quarterback, right? I mean, you kind of authored the style of giving the play directly into the ear of the quarterback before each snap, after each play. Tell us a little bit about this offense. I guess start with the quarterback and kind of work your way down. What about this group stands out here in 21?
Well, it's a four-back offense. We also run a lot of wing T too. So we try to spread the ball around. Again, a lot like different way than Ryan does it, but we try to see matchups in certain areas we like to attack and make the appropriate adjustments and attack those areas. It's a offense that I think that it forces you to balance up defensively because it's a symmetrical offense, both right and left. And then you add the wing T to it, you can get out of that a little bit and load it up. So misdirection, threat on the midline, threat off tackle, threat on the edge with run and pass, and obviously the waggle and the kind of bootleg stuff on the edge. So it's been a really good package for us.
Sounds like a tough thing to prepare against, right, Steve?
Well, if you're if you're an inside linebacker and you play Coach Ball's defense, you know you're going to play a football game, even when he may not have his best team. That he may have a better team next year, but no matter when you play him, you know you're going to play that game. And I think, Coach, what you do is you work on a grouping of plays, but you execute at the max. And it's very obvious that your coaching staff is able to get that sort of execution out of the players. And they know what they're doing. They fire off the line really well. Talk about your assistant coaches. Your, this year is that you have, Coach, and talk about them and what they've been able to accomplish, because you guys look really solid. I've seen 2 of your games. Saw the Goffstown game, and
no question.
Yeah. Talk about them.
Yeah, we've been together. I've been here 44 years. I've been with these guys when I took over for Dick Eustace 29 years ago. Skip Swazinski's with me, former head coach at Timberlane, Trinity, and Bishop Brady, graduate of the high school. He does an incredible job with the offensive line. He graduated from Exeter in 77, and Billy Callahan played with him on those great Exeter teams. He works the secondary. So we've got Jack Robertson, a former coach, and then we have a bunch of guys that have played for us. We're lucky. We've got about 5 or 6 guys in the program, and they do a lot of leg work for us. They do a lot of work during the week, getting the scout team ready and getting the scouting report ready. And we come in on Sunday. We're ready to go with our, to like you say, get into the room and work for all day. And people give up a lot of time. I mean, it's when the day starts, it's 7 days a week till it ends. So I'm blessed with those guys. They're terrific assistants. They're great people, and they've carried the mantle of this football program on their shoulders for the last 30 years.
Coach, one of the other things that I've always alluded to it on the air when we do your broadcast, something that's always impressed me, honestly, is the fact, and I did it when I coached youth football as well, but you do it at high school, and you still have the quarterback come off the field, and you're basically communicating with him every play. How important is that? Obviously, it's important enough to do it, but do you think that you gain an advantage by doing that? Why do you do that at the high school level?
I've always done it, and it might be a little bit of a, hey, look for this, okay, or this adjustment or that adjustment, and it's all of a sudden we're going to run waggle right. Hey, tell the wingback to chip the defensive end before he releases on his pattern. Simple stuff like that, just little nuances. We've been running it so long. We know the nuances of the offense. 29 years running it, so you have a pretty good idea of what you're seeing, what the front is, what the coverage is, and what adjustments. So it's pretty good to be able to talk to the quarterback and be able to say, we've got this, but versus this look, you got this, and versus that look, you got that. So, like I said, it's hard defensively because in my opinion, you have to balance up against it. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. One of the games I saw, we saw a great game when you guys played Dover last year, Nick. Remember we covered that game. That was just a terrific game to cover, Coach. And I was sure that you would never go for that in 4th down, and Nick just made me look like a fool in that game. But we won't talk about that right now. Just staying on that quarterback situation, I thought in that game against Dover was a real good demonstration where I saw you kind of coaching about the situation at the game. My sense was you were talking about protecting the football, and things to be careful of in a certain situation in the game that you want to make extra sure you do this. Was I right about that? Because it looked like you and he were having some really intense conversations about how to win that very, very tight game. Great game to watch, by the way.
Yeah, with Jonathan Bennell. And ball security is, at any level, it's whether it's a pick or a fumble, a creative fumble. If you can win that battle, you have a really good chance of winning the game.
Right.
And we've had, we work on that every day.
Yeah.
I don't care if we're out there in notepads. We're chopping away at it. We're trying to rip it out. We're trying to do everything we can to get the ball out not give it up. And our tackling circuits are predicated around taking care of the ball. Yeah, it is something that you can emphasize when you have that conversation.
I thought your defensive core last year, because this is our first time seeing you this year. We can't wait for Saturday, by the way. And, boy, if you don't like football, if you can't appreciate this upcoming game on Friday night we're doing and then your game on Saturday, you really can't appreciate high school football as far as I'm concerned. So your defensive secondary, I thought last year in the at least two games that we did last year and the ones that I watched, your defensive secondary work as far as locking down on receivers, I thought just was exemplary. Do you have that kind of talent this year to do the same thing? It's hard to say you've only played 2 games, weren't able to play Central, but how does that defensive secondary match up?
I like our secondary. We've got 2 guys back, Jake Weberg and Nate Ross, and Adam Neal has played really well to date, and Ethan Moss and Evan Pafford are playing. So we've got a pretty good cadre back there. To date, they've tackled well in space, and that's going to be a big thing. Not only stopping the pass game of winning kind of because they're going to take their shots. They're going to take their shots off play action. It's going to happen, and we have to focus and make sure we read well. And the other thing you have to do is you have to tackle in space, and that's something that's difficult. And you have to work on it every day. That's what you do. So, so I like our secondary a lot. Our defense was playing, I thought, really well up until, we had the week off, and we tried to simulate as much and try to make it as game-like as possible. Mm-hmm. But there's no substitution for when the ball snaps. And then that's the adjustment we're going to have to make. The speed of their offense and the speed of their defense, you gotta be ready off the bat because it's a different speed. They're very quick. They run to the ball well defensively, and they come off the ball extremely well offensively.
Kyle Tilley, give us your round out of his skills and areas where you've got to get it right. Give us a little profile from a coach ball perspective on Kyle Tilley.
Yeah, has played for 2 years. He's been the quarterback. He's a big, strong kid. Mm-hmm. He's a downhill runner. He's a power runner. He's 6'2". He's I would say 200 pounds. I'm not sure, but I've seen him enough to know he's a big, strong kid. And he'll take it up inside the tackle. Okay, when they do a little read up in there, mm-hmm. and he'll take it outside off the veer and the wide veer, and he'll also take it straight down the line of scrimmage on the outside veer. And the other thing he can do is they get into a 3-back set. Yeah, they'll just run power with him around the corners. So.
Yeah, he did that against Bedford and did quite well.
Yeah, he did. And so he's a multi-threat, and obviously he's a pass threat, and he's experienced. He's got good poise under center. And they also have a shotgun package they go to that we haven't seen this year, but we certainly have seen it in the past. And so, yeah, it's a handful that you're ready for, and we're really looking forward to it.
Well, we're looking forward to it as well. Before I hand it back to Nick, we always love coming out to Exeter, Coach, whether it's lacrosse, whether it's basketball. Have a little tough time with the internet inside, but we're going to work on that with our cell signal inside. But outside, I think we're in pretty good shape. And always appreciate your hospitality of your whole group there. And we are looking forward to a great game. I hope people tune in and appreciate it, whether they watch it live or after the fact. And thanks for all you do for football. We actually saw you out there in the lacrosse field up in Portsmouth there, coming in the last minute. I don't know if you remember that. I wasn't there, but Roger was there. So you're all over the place, multi-season. But, Coach, on a serious note, really appreciate the precision, the execution, and so many players that you've prepared at the college level. And you just add an extra element to all of your players and an attitude that permeates throughout the whole culture of Exeter football. So I wish you the personally. It's going to be awful. Somebody's got to lose that game because they're just two great football teams. But wouldn't be the least bit surprised if this was a tight game. I predicted to Coach Ryan Francoeur that whoever wins the rushing numbers is going to win that game on Saturday. Is my prediction, because you guys all do that so well. But wouldn't be the least bit surprised if you, no matter what happens on Saturday, if you face each other potentially again. And we'll certainly do our best to be there, because it's going to be a good one. So best of luck to you.
I appreciate that.
Always appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach. I know you got a busy day tomorrow. We appreciate you carving some time out for us here late tonight for sure.
Not a problem, guys.
And again, thank you, and good luck on Saturday as well.
Appreciate.
Give us a wave up in the stands, will you?
All right, we'll do that.
Take care.
Thank you, Coach.
Take care, guys. Yep. Bye.
Again, that's Bill Ball, one of the most recognizable names in terms of, brand recognition, right? It's really a brand at this point. 44 years on the job in the program. Of course, his school's athletic director. He's been the head coach now for 29 years, and he brings a wealth of knowledge to the field with him on Saturday.
Brings a wealth of knowledge and wealth of character around him. You see the players come out. You don't see any funky stuff with those teams. Those teams are expected to play at a high level performance-wise, also a high level of character. And
one of the better ADs to deal with, frankly. Always looking to go the extra mile and go out of his way to help us. We appreciate that.
You don't ever underestimate his nice, easygoing stature that he comes out in a game, and he's very. But let me tell you, what goes on behind the scenes is a well-oiled machine. And Coach Francoeur, like Jimmy Lozon, another younger coach, and he's still young as far as I'm concerned, Ryan, just so you know if you're still listening, bud. But it's just great to see these matchups of these young, terrific coaches coming in with the legends that New Hampshire has had for decades. It's just going to be a terrific weekend. Looking forward to it. And
reminder, we're on the air tomorrow night, beginning at 6:45, 7 o'clock kick between Londonderry and Pinkerton. We're live on the scene. We may get some stormy weather, which is always fun. And, of course, Saturday we're right back at it as well at Exeter as Winnicott will battle the Blue Hawks at 1:30. That's a 1:15 start. For us, again, it's live. It's in full 1080 HD, instant replay, graphics, 2-camera shoot, and the best color man in the business as well.
Yeah, right.
To my right. Steve, your final thoughts on another informative edition here of FNL Gridiron.
Well, we decided this year, Nick, to do it ahead of time. We were just talking off the air about that, and it's just so great to get this information. You got to kind of get a feel for what the coaches for the game coming up, and we certainly appreciate all the views and the viewers that stay with us and watch it after the fact, whether they watch it live or whatever. But if you want to sit down in some lousy weather tomorrow night and sit down in front of your TV and watch a great game, I think you're going to see that, and I don't expect anything less on Saturday. I know that Ben has had these games penciled on as soon as the schedule came out, so there's no doubt that between you and Ben, that's where we were going. And it's going to be, and it's just so great to see all four of these teams on such a run. Again, wouldn't surprise in the quarterfinals if you didn't see these two games again. Right. To be honest with you, depending on the seeding, of course. But if you want to see offensive line and defensive line work. On both sides of the ball, all four lines, both defensive lines and both offensive lines, never mind all the skill positions, you're going to see a total package of football. Yeah. And I think it's going to be a very interesting second half of both games.
I want to thank Ryan Francoeur of Winnicott for jumping on with us, Jimmy Lozon of Londonderry, Coach Bill Ball of Exeter. We appreciate them. We'll be back, of course, next week, same time, same channel. 6 o'clock Eastern on Thursdays. Archives are up right after on FNLNH Media. The home of Friday Night Lights New Hampshire on YouTube is, again, FNLNH Media. For our director, the man behind the curtain, Ben Beals, my partner, Steve Beals. My name is Nick Anastas saying so long. This has been FNL Gridiron presented by Beals Insurance.